You've probably heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That usually isn't good news when it comes to getting a job or a promotion. But when it comes to the gospel, who you know is absolutely what it's all about. And that's the best news you could ever hear. In 1 Corinthians 13:12, the Apostle Paul said, "Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." Do you see what Paul is saying? God knows you. He knows you now, and He knows you fully. But you don't yet know yourself the way He does. And what is it that God knows about you that you don't know? Paul writes about that in Colossians 3, verses 1 and 4. "Since then you have been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with Him in glory." Did you know that you have died and risen with Jesus Christ, and your true identity is in Christ? Did you know that you are already seated with Christ at the right hand of the Father, and your new life in Christ is hidden with Him in God? If you're like most of us, if you're honest, all you see about yourself is a struggling, sinning, flawed Christian. Maybe you even wonder whether you'll ever measure up to the high calling of Christ. Take comfort. The gospel, the good news, is that salvation is not about you measuring up to anything. The gospel is about what Jesus has already done for you and in you. Salvation is not about achieving some high moral standard. It's about knowing Jesus Christ even as He already knows you. Paul doesn't say that if you become righteous enough, then He will raise you up with Him. He says, since then you have been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above. He says, when Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with Him in glory. That's when you will finally see the real you, the you that God has made you to be in Christ. You don't see yourself that way now. But that new you, Paul says, is already seated with Christ at the right hand of God. And you can trust Him that your salvation is secure because it doesn't depend on you. It depends on Him. And He's already finished the job. I'm Joseph Tkach, speaking of life.
Jesus asked His disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" We have a free booklet, A Brief Introduction to Trinitarian Theology, to help you answer that question. In the United States, to request your free copy, go to wcg.org/lit or call us toll-free at 1-800-423-4444. That's 1-800-423-4444.